So the Avengers Doomsday leaks are doing the rounds again. It's a plot breakdown. And we talked about some of these before. There's a little bit more detail there. And I have to say, it looks very credible now. It looks like this is the story. And it sounds absolutely dreadful. And I'm kind of just amazed that this is what they're going with. Because it all hinges on the audience being convinced to accept a kind of a plot device MacGuffin and to care about it. This arbitrary plot point, this technical thing of timeline incursions. Because as you know, this is a multiverse bonanza. Hopefully this is the series finale of the multiverse in the MCU. They're rebooting the MCU. And they're doing all this multiverse stuff where they're tearing universes apart and then putting them back together. And it all ends with Doctor Doom creating Battleworld. This ties into the comic books, which leads us into, again, Secret Wars. Now, I'm someone who's never read any of the comics. So when I judge these movies, I do so entirely on their own merits, which is just the films themselves. And the films have to stand apart. So we're going to go through what we know for the story of Avengers Doomsday. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't worry about it. The story is so bad. And keeping in mind, this is going to be one of the most expensive movies ever made. It's so bad, it's already spoiled. It's so terrible. I'm not being hyperbolic. So the film opens in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe from the Sam Raimi movies, obviously. And Deadpool and Wolverine are fighting him because they've been sent to his universe with a bomb that's meant to destroy his universe for some reason. To protect their universe from an incursion that's going to happen or something. It doesn't seem very believable that superheroes would actually annihilate someone's universe. They wouldn't find some other way to fix this problem. But yeah, so we're supposed to care about incursions, right? This is just a concept. So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, they're killed when this bomb detonates. So Wolverine dies again. But Deadpool escapes, and then Charles Xavier watches from his universe, and he's very sad. But apparently there was no other choice. This is the way it had to go. Now, what's new? There's a new detail here, which is that we find that we get a flashback to Tony Stark's funeral, and there's a bit in there where Steve speaks to some of the other Avengers, including talking to Ant-Man. And then it goes to the scene where Steve goes off and travels back through time to return the stones to their various points. And ultimately he decides to stay in the past to be with Peggy, where he would have a son. And so we saw that in the trailers, him living his life there. He has a son. And Loki comes to him. And this is Loki prior to the season finale of the season 2 Loki finale, where he's stuck in all the multiverse spaghetti, holding it all together. So yeah, if you love the TVA, you're gonna love this one. the Time Variance Authority. I don't know anybody who really likes the concept so much, but Loki tells him that Steve isn't supposed to be there, that his timeline is going to get pruned. Yeah, so timeline's getting pruned. Who doesn't love TVA speak and all the concepts of the TVA? Wonderful. It was actually a terrible addition to the MCU as far as I'm concerned. And such a waste of the character of Loki. There's so many other things that you could have done with a Loki TV series, but they had to make it around the Time Variance Authority. So basically he offers Steve the opportunity to survive with Peggy and their son, to go to the Fantastic Four's universe instead. So that's the Fantastic Four First Steps. So he goes there, and that's where he lives his life. Eventually, Doctor Doom comes to see the Fantastic Four and speaks to Sue. He talks about the incursions. I don't know why this stuff is I don't know why there's incursions, right? I don't know why we're supposed to care about this, but trying to motivate an audience to care about an incursion is a very difficult thing to do, because what's actually happening here is characters are traveling from one universe to the next. They're having dialogue, there's action scenes, and they're just giving expositionary lines. They're explaining there's a problem because, and therefore we have to do this. Now, that can be quite difficult for an audience to care about because it's all hypotheticals. This story doesn't feel in any way personal. It doesn't feel like a personal character story. It's not really about the characters. It's just about excuses to have characters cross over, to meet each other across different timelines. That's all it's really about. And to have cameos and all this sort of stuff. That's really all it is. There's no emotional core to this story at all. This is very dry. This is a very dry story. Incursions? The universe breaking down? I mean, come on. I don't care. I'm not going to care about that. Let the world blow up, but give me a story that's about human beings that I can relate to. This isn't that. So he says that they should all go to the main Prime universe where the Avengers are from. So the main MCU universe, which is of course Earth 616, and they bring Steve and his family. And Steve explains to the Avengers that they should go along with Doom's plan. And so then they have to go to the X-Men universe because, of course they do. Because reasons, right? And the X-Men fight them. Why do the X-Men fight them? Because, of course, it would be cool to have the Avengers versus the X-Men, right? And to have the Fantastic Four in there, just to have them all fight together. Because that's cool to have that on screen. And that's the point of it. Okay? So the plot requires it, so they do it because that's going to titillate fans, right? Member berries and a cool fight. That's what these kind of movies are all about now. So Reed Richards and Doom, they come up with this plan, and the plan is to build huge cannons on all of the Earths affected by these incursions. Apparently this is going to stop the incursions. And so they go off into different teams. So you got the Avengers, you got the new Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, they all go off into their separate universes, and they start trying to place these cannons there. Okay. And that seems quite similar to all the Endgame time travel, where they're all going off to different points in time. Steve informs Thor that Loki is alive. And so they go to see him, and he's in the TVA, but Loki is dead because his heart has been ripped out of his chest. And it's at that point that they realize that they shouldn't have trusted Doom. They shouldn't have trusted Doom. I mean, here's the thing. Even if you didn't read these leaks and you didn't know anything about this, everyone watching the film, including general audiences who are just clueless about the plot of the movie, they know that Doom is the bad guy. This is an obvious twist that's coming. It's barely a twist. I mean, people are waiting for the villain to emerge, and it's fairly obvious that Doom is going to turn on them. So yeah, it doesn't actually have any impact. And so Steve talks to Doom about this, and then he comes clean about his true plan, which was actually to let the incursions take place. And his plan is to rebuild the universe in the way he wants it, so that he can bring back his dead family. It's quite weak, really, And they go to his castle, and apparently there's witches there, and one of them takes the form of Peggy Carter. And she's trying to take advantage of him. So what Doom says is that Steve going to that other universe is actually what caused the incursion, which I hate because it's undoing his happy ending from the end of Endgame, which was perfect. So Doom wants, I guess, revenge as well, because he tried to stop the incursions from happening, but the experiments he did were costly and they ended up accidentally killing his family. And that's why he has to wear the suit and the mask. But here's my question at this point. Are we going to get an explanation as to why Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark? It's not in the leaks. There's nothing said about it. So I don't know. Is it just that they've cast Robert Downey Jr. in the role and that's it? And that everybody in the film is just going to accept him, that he looks a lot like Tony Stark and that's about it? Or is there some sort of multiverse reason why? I guess there's going to be a multiverse reason why. But here's the thing. I don't think many fans really want Robert Downey Jr. playing anyone else other than Tony Stark, Iron Man. So if he's just going to be playing this other character in these two movies, Doomsday and Secret Wars, I think that's a huge mistake and a massive missed opportunity. So then he kills Steve's son. Yeah, these are really bad story choices. So there's a big fight. All the different Earths start to crash into each other. This is starting to sound a lot like the ending of The Flash. It really is. And everyone dies. But Doom survives. And he now reforms the multiverse and creates Battleworld. And then he brings everyone back to life and erases their memories. And so they're all we see them all just living as if they've always been on Battleworld. And then it ends with Doom on his throne as the ruler of this new universe. And it feels very similar to the end of Infinity War, where Thanos sits in his chair on that planet, very pleased with himself, having, wiped out half of all life in the universe. And so that's the end of Doomsday. That's the cliffhanger. And then, of course, Secret Wars is just going to be probably another crossover mess. But that's the story. That's how it ends. And I'm just so astounded that this is what they're going with, because I don't see this film as having any emotional core. It's just characters doing arbitrary things because the plot requires it. Lots of exposition, lots of running around, fights basically for the sake of it. This feels very paint by numbers. This feels very, and then this happened and that happened, and let's do this next. Maybe in the next scene we'll do this. It doesn't feel like things are flowing logically at all. So I really think they're throwing everything they can at the wall in the hopes that if they throw enough eye candy, if they throw enough member berries, bring back as many of your favorite superheroes as possible from different universes, just throw them all into the same movie, that fans will go, oh, I've got to go and see this. This is just too big to ignore, right? That does not make a good movie. These are not necessarily the ingredients of a good film. And so I'm just astounded that this is, because here's the thing, this is not the first time I've heard of leaks like this. These are very, very similar to the leaks we heard some time ago, which some of us have reported on previously. I'm amazed that this is Doomsday. We now know the plot of Doomsday. Now, I would love for this to be fake, or for this to have been the original story and maybe they changed it massively. But I don't think so. I think this is it. And if it is, boy. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this will be the biggest movie of the year, but I don't know. How much money is this film going to need to make to break even? Think about the budget for this film. Well, there you go. I'm going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.